welcome back to the Late Night Gamer. Even though I have had a long time of absence from the channel, I'm still playing games, of course, and I am also still going to film one game or two in the coming year. I'm not sure about how much. I'm just going to do this for my own enjoyment and when I can. My schedule has been busy, but now it's clearing up a little bit. I have been investing in another horror game in the Arkham Horror universe. As you can see here, it's Eldritch Horror. I was really sort of destined not to buy this game because I have Arkham and I think that is the best game I have ever played. But then I got the chance of buying the base game of Eldritch Horror used. And as they say, the rest is history. What I've been thinking when this game is so massive and it has as many expansions as Arkham Horror, is it possible to do with this game as I have done with Arkham Horror? Like play epically, play with everything at once, so I don't have to pick and choose and leave stuff in a game box, but have the possibility in every game to see every card and every expansion. I'm going to try to get an epic game of Eldritch Horror. I have everything I need to play Eldritch Horror, all the expansions so far in these 3 boxes. Yes, the base game box has every card sorted out, so I don't have to do that for every game. It's all in there already, ready to go. Much like with Arkham Horror, the way I've set that up, and I have a video about that, which I hope I will link to somewhere in this video, so you can check it out. So yeah, that's basically done. That's set up already. In box 2 I have Epic Monsters, dice, clue token bag, standees, and my monster cup, in addition to the game boards, of course. Now the last box is really just the tokens and instruction manuals and investigator and ancient one cards. So that's it really for setup. Now we're ready just to put out the cards, build the mythos deck, choose investigators, ancient one of course. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about how I'm going to play this game. Maybe it's worth looking a little bit at the expansions to see what they really contain and what they bring to the table, and if it's at all possible to get it in. Of course, the base game, we know what that brings. Bunch of ancient ones, some the core mechanics of the game, obviously, and a few encounters. And I say a few because the other expansion brought a lot more. And one of the expansions that did that was, of course, Forsaken Lore. And it doesn't bring anything in particular to the game other than more encounter cards, more mystery cards, one ancient one, monsters, spells, assets, more cards, and really no new mechanic. So this is like Miskatonic Horror for Arkham Horror. That expansion, just get more of stuff, right? Right, so the way I thought it was that I'm not going to buy any big box expansions. I thought I'm going to buy all the small ones, so I bought Strange Remnants. Now, Strange Remnants brings to the table some new cards like overview cards. It's not really important, but they introduced the prelude. For me, at least, they introduced the prelude, which is a set of cards you draw before you start, like extra bad stuff or extra missions or extra, well, not very often extra good stuff. Adventures was also new. Certain prelude cards gave you access to certain adventures. Okay, and there's not many. 3 maybe, one for each of the big box expansions, and one for that. Okay, so that's 4. Don't know what's happening now with the Mask of Nyarlathotep. That can't be the name, Nyarlathotep. It's also brought another set of cards, which are Mystic Ruins encounters. So now, in addition to some preludes, adventures, you also have the possibility to having Mystic encounters. but they are dictated by prelude cards or ancient ones. So depending on the ancient one, you can get mystic encounters. I'm not sure how many, 1 maybe. Yeah, it's Susugu. For me at least, a non-new thing was these focus actions, which are quite useful. You can take 1 focus to reroll a die. You don't have to use clues for that. That's great. Yeah. For our game, it means that we have to play Susugu if we want to have that mystic deck out. So then I bought Under the Pyramids a large box expansion because I gave in and said, okay, I want a big board after all. I was at this point already destined to go all in, although I didn't admit that to myself. Under the Pyramids. What does it bring to the table? Well, we know, of course, that it has an Egyptian sideboard. Then there is more cards, obviously. And that's it, really. There's no new mechanics, no new things going on. But it expands the expedition to other types of locations, namely city locations, on the main board. So you have a little bit more spread out for expeditions now. Yeah, okay, so that's it. So how do you get out the Egyptian sideboard? Well, you have to either use a prelude card or you have to use Nefren Ka, which I hate. I've never been able to beat Nefren Ka. He's super tough, but very thematic. And that opens up the Egyptian sideboard. So let's have a brief look at Egypt. Well, you all know, I guess, how it connects to the other game board. You can go to different spaces and you can travel here from different locations. That's fine. And it has new locations which have their own encounters. And that's great. With the encounters, you have some opportunities that the main board does not provide. Gain clues, for instance. Gain relic unique assets. Recover health and sanity. Gain these glamour spells and improve your skills. Doesn't say which skill, so maybe that's optional there, I'm not sure. So there's a little bit of variety here. So you can have a good incentive to go to this board, particularly for the, well, recover health and sanity. But the improved skills is really neat. If you get impaired, you can come here, you can maybe fix it. So I think using this board in every game, so to speak, have the option of go to Egypt in every game, although nothing is really happening there. You will have different Egypt encounters, but you are able to mitigate some game effects, helping you out a little bit. I know about the other ones, I just bought them in one bunch, so I'm just going to present them. Starting with the small ones, Cities in Ruin has this mechanic that the cities, well, they are devastated, in ruins basically. Disaster cards and devastation. Interesting thing is, of course, how do these new things come out? So you must have the correct ancient one. That may be a problem for an epic game. So the Signs of Carcosa, of course, all of these expansions have ancient ones and prelude cards, which put this in a thematic sense connected to those creatures. But as for game effects, impairment tokens is the thing that comes here. There is nothing new here in that sense, in terms of game sense. Just more cards, and you can get impaired. Mountains of Madness. Yeah, we know that's Antarctica. And the game board comes out in the same way as Egypt. Prelude cards or ancient ones. This is Antarctica. So if we played with Antarctica open all the time, regardless of prelude and ancient one, would we go here ever? Yeah, we could go. If gates open here, we would have to go here. But we know that there is only 3 locations that can have gates in Antarctica. So, okay, there's a lot of gates in the game, so maybe we'll see a gate opening here. Maybe we'll go there and take care of it, maybe not. There are some unique way that this board works compared to the other sideboards. And that's really that they have local actions in every space here. So that's cool. It's a little bit more predictable way of getting stuff. For instance, the City of Elder thing. The local action here says that we have to test our observation. And if we pause it, we get a clue. So that's awesome, right? Now you know that if you have a good observation, traveling to City of the Other Thing will enable you to get a clue. These are just helping you to move around on the Antarctica board. You get the guide as well, so you sort of gear up for the expedition here. And the good parts are, of course, in the blue spaces here, the most remote spaces. Yeah, it has a local action at the plateau lane, which will teleport you to a gate. So after you get a clue up here, you can move here and hopefully you can teleport off this board. Snowy mountains, test your willpower or spend one focus. So which is great, focus is not hard to come by really. Then you can improve your skill. So that's a really awesome ability. Actually, maybe even prefer going here instead of going to Egypt. Depending on where you are, Antarctica is also a little bit more inaccessible on the main game board. If there are clues on this board, you will have to resolve a specific set of encounter cards, not connected to the ancient one, but connected to the game board here. I have no idea what they look like, but I'm sure they are thematic. The Antarctica board looks interesting in the sense that you can get clues or you can improve your skill, which is really helpful for those hard impairment tokens. Last expansion that I have and that is available is the Dreamlands, which again does not necessarily bring in any new game mechanics, but it brings but it brings out the Dreamland game board. Yeah, it has a different orientation than the other ones, but it has very weird locations, underworld, the moon, and stuff like that. Gates will open here, but more importantly, portals on the main game board will open and draw gates here. So I think, in theory, this board can get quite populated with gates. Of course, again, you need to have the specific ancient one or the prelude card to get it up and running. But I know that they also bring dream quests out. How do you get dream quests? That's the question. So whenever the Dreamlands are in play, you will play with the dream quest cards. Okay. So if you think about this now. Well, actually, in this setup, I have the ancient ones and I have the mythos cards. And these are the other big cards. So we have the general, the Europe, Asian, and Australia, North and South America, and other worlds encounter cards. Those are always going to be in. The same is for the expedition. That's always there. Mystic ruins are only out if that Syzygyx is the ancient one. And let's find them. So only if Syzygy is the ancient one, then you have the Mystic Ruin encounter deck. The new expansion that are being announced, or actually is coming out within a month, has promised more Mystic Ruins encounters. So maybe they will have more central role in the game. The Mystic Ruins are of course connected to Strange Remnants, because that's what they are. They are the Strange Remnants. Okay, so that's a problem. Unless we get Syzygy, then we won't have Mystic Ruins. So the adventures are primarily only out if you draw the right prelude card. Yeah, that's a possibility in every game regardless of the ancient one, so I guess they're okay. Outposts, Antarctica research, and mountains are all connected to the Antarctica sideboard. The outpost, actually I think I want to change the order here a little bit, like this. So the Antarctica research is if you encounter clues on the Antarctica board. And we have the outpost and the mountains, which are specific locations. So if you play with the board, these are out. The same with Africa and Egypt. That's on the Egypt side. And Dreamlands, which is for the Dreamland board. Then Dream Quests, also on the Dreamland board. So that's fine. Disaster and Devastation, again, as Mystic Ruins, are connected to a specific guy. And that's it. Then we have reference and preludes. So only 3 decks are specifically connected to Ancient One and not anything else. The Mystic Ruins, the Disaster, and Devastation. So the reason that the Disasters and Devastation deck is a little bit unsuited for an epic play is that the only way that we can get a new Disaster is to have a Shodmal effect. So if he is the Ancient One, of course we're going to play with it. I think that you have to leave out Mystic Ruins and Devastation and Disasters from an epic game, unless we draw the specific Ancient Ones. Other than that, we can have everything else open, and when gates are spawned or clues are spawned on the sideboard, then we have an incentive to go there. Actually, I think we may have a rule saying that's the only time you can go there. So in some games you may see Egypt or you may see Antarctica, but you don't have to. So right now there are 24 gates in the game. The possibility to see an Antarctica gate would be 3 out of 24. That's 1 in 8. There's a 1 in 8 chance of getting the Antarctica ball out. Yeah, it's not too great. The same with Egypt actually. So, but the chance, of course, of getting one of those out is greater than that. And in addition, we have the clue token. So maybe we just go about it that way. I remember from my epic Arkham Horror play, we didn't see too much actions on the sideboard really. So let's try and set up the game. Okay, that's it for me now, and bye bye. Thank you for watching.